Hey everybody, it is Mike, aka BB Gossip, and this is a edited down copy of the podcast that I recorded last July after I had spent 2 nights at the Big Brother premiere parties in New York City. Now, the difference this year is the first night there will not be a premiere to watch, so when you listen to this, take that into account. The first night there won't be a TV show going on. They're going to do like a lip sync party and stuff. The second night will be more like the first night, possibly because the TV show will be on at the same time. And the second night is at the same venue that the first night was at last year. So I expect the second night to possibly be the bigger night of the two. Also, there are other parties going on. Kat from Big Brother 21 is hosting a party in Texas, and Kenny from last season is hosting a party in Boston. There was also a party in Boston last season. So I'm not sure if there are any other premiere parties going on across the country. If there are, I will let you know for sure. But I will be at the one in New York City. Thanks for listening, and I'll let it go at that and hand it off to myself. The bigger party of the two was Wednesday night. There were more people there. There was more celebrities there, but there was still a ton the second night. But there were some people that were there the first night that went on to do other things the second night. Like Derek Frazier was at the first night, but not at the second night. Some other people I knew were at the first night, but not the second night. But I'm telling you, there was a core group. There was a lot. And I shared tons of pictures on my Twitter timeline of people. I didn't get pictures with a few people because I had their pictures from Chicago. Jag and Corey and America, I think that may have been it, that were there that I didn't get a picture with. I didn't get a picture with Taylor. So I think I've already talked about that a little bit in my Taylor talking experience. So if you missed that one, you need to go back and listen to another episode. But I did talk about talking with Taylor in one of my recent podcasts. So, but met all these people. It's just a wonderful event. It is not an event to go to watch the premiere for sure, because both nights it was so loud in the venues that you could not hear it. You could watch them on closed caption, but you could not hear what was being said very well. Every one of the former house guests was gracious and nice and friendly and warm and, had conversations. That's what I was going to say. The first night, a lot of people, a lot of things going on. The second night, still a lot of people, but not quite as busy, it was a smaller venue, but it was still quite crowded, quite busy. But I was able to have longer conversations with some people that I couldn't even talk to the night before. I sat there, I ended up sitting next to Riley at the bar at one point, and we just kind of started laughing and joking and talking, and we only had a 5-minute conversation. And at some point I was talking about, I said, do you have Twitter? She's like, no, I don't have Twitter. She says, I have Instagram. I said, yeah, I don't really have Instagram, but I was fumbling with my phone to try to get to, you know what? I just started recording a video and just had her and said, say hi or something. And then I tweeted it out because people were watching the Twitter timeline during the show. So on Thursday night, I tweeted a live thing of Riley, nicest person in the world, again, just like everybody else. The house guests all seem to get along. They're all very talkative, all very friendly. How many times can I say that? I don't know. I can keep saying it. Second night was easier to talk to the house guests that were there. I had several conversations with people. If you were there the first night, some of them recognized you from the previous night. I will say, and I think I tweeted about this, if you wanted to talk to Corey and America, good luck. They were hounded all night long. They were the center of everyone's attention. And I didn't really talk to them. I think I said hi Wednesday night. I'm pretty sure I did, because I know that America was kind of like, she remembered me from Chicago. And she said hi, but that was it. I didn't try to get pictures. I already had a picture with her from Chicago. And I just didn't feel like intruding on their space because they were just so hounded by everybody. I know where I was going to go next. So the next thing is a little bit of a cool thing for me. And I don't know if any of those people that I talked to Wednesday or Thursday that knew me ahead of time listen to my podcast. Hopefully some of them do now, but they may not have made it this far into it. But anyways, some of the people I talked to, Danielle, I think, Nathan, I talked to an Andy. I don't think Andy would listen to this. There was a Brian I talked to. I talked to some sequester people, but there were people that came up to me and knew me. And I'll talk specifically about, I think it's Danielle and Nathan, the first two people I talked to Wednesday night. So I've arrived there. I've talked to Joe. Joe's let me in. I've kind of walked around, and there was an upstairs outdoor area. I go upstairs, and I'm out on the porch, and I walk out on this landing area, outdoor bar, and actually I'll throw another person, but I'm going to throw this guy into the bus, Nick. So I walk up, and I see a guy on a couch that looks exactly like a person I've known for like 5 or 6 or 7 years from Twitter only. I've known him only online, but we've exchanged lots of conversations. We've had conversations, and he participated in Sequester, so I kind of knew him from there. And I'm like, that's Nick. I'm thinking, that's Nick. But he's looking at me, but he doesn't kind of give me kind of a glance of recognition. So I get out my phone, and I'm trying to pull up my Twitter account because I'm trying to look up Nick in my DMs to kind of say, hey, Nick, are you here? And while I'm doing this, he gets up and he leaves the area with the friends he was with. Meanwhile, another person, Danielle, comes up and she recognizes me and she talks to me. She's a longtime fan, and Danielle was great. And so I'm like, cool. And we sit down and we just start talking about Big Brother and just start talking about stuff. And while we're talking, and I'm still looking up Nick, another person, Nathan, I know his name now, but he's kind of looking at me from across the way. And I just see this, his eyes light up, and he kind of gets up and goes, are you BB Gossip? I'm like, yes. And it was just so cool to have that, and I talked to Nathan both nights and Danielle both nights. Very cool people. That happened to me at least 4, maybe 5 times both nights, where people came up and talked to me. And that is the coolest thing in the world. I actually recognized a couple of people, and I had that moment where I'm like, are you so-and-so? They're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So good to meet you. So it went both ways. I had a funny one as far as house guests go. And I have just taken a selfie with Derek. So I grabbed Derek Frazier. He was walking by. I got a quick selfie with him and said hi. He was generous, very friendly. We took a couple of quick pictures. And as we were talking, another gentleman walked up to Derek and started talking to him, and they started talking, and I just kind of stepped away because that's kind of what you do. They go from person to person. You just gotta realize he's done talking to you, and not in a bad way. He's on talking to somebody else now, and so I kind of stepped away and started to walk away, and suddenly I get this tap or touch on my shoulder, and it's like, hey, you got a picture. You got to get a picture with me if you're going to get a picture with Big Brother people, or however he said it. And I kind of turned around and looked at him like, wait a minute. And it was like Will Mega from, and those of you that don't know who I'm talking about, well, you're showing your age or lack of your age or lack of your Big Brother fandom. Will Mega was the very first house guest ever evicted from Big Brother on season 1. So he technically only lasted 2 weeks, right? But it was quite a momentous 2 weeks. And I told him when I talked to him, I said, you would have lasted a lot longer in every other season, but the public got to vote out and you were too polarizing and too controversial. So, and he was very nice, very friendly. I told him what I did way back in the day then. And I just said, it's a pleasure to meet you. And again, very friendly, very nice. Took a few pictures with me. I posted those. That was kind of that would be one of the highlights of my nights, talking to someone who goes that far back, right? Fast forward to Wednesday night or Thursday night, I also got to talk to Monica from season 2. I knew she was there the night before, but I didn't see her. I missed her. And Lawan was also there from season 14. And I hadn't had a chance to talk to him. There was people that there were Big Brother people there, at least the first night that I missed, and I'm kind of mad that I missed them and I didn't get to talk to them because I wanted to talk to every one of them, thank them for coming. But I ended up talking to Lawan and Monica. I took a picture with them. I don't know if any of the people that are from TV Clubhouse still listen to this, but I mentioned to Monica because, Monica's cousin was in one of the towers when it went down during 9/11, and TV Clubhouse really kind of was one of those groups that kind of did things of support, and they got like a quilt together for her, and they did all kinds of stuff for her. For Monica, because again, she was stuck in the house after all this went on, and the production had to tell her, your cousin didn't make it, kind of a thing. And, that's tough. And yet she came through it. She said nice things. She posted nice things online, but she said she still has all those things from 2000 or from 2001. I'm sorry. She still has all the stuff that the TV Clubhouse and other people I'm sure gave her. So that was a really cool thing. It just tells you all those house guests that were there, friendly, nice, warm, take a picture with anybody, talk to anybody. And so I would just encourage anybody to go to this kind of events. Now, by the way, and let me be clear, this was not a free event. There was a charge. There was a cover charge to get in. But, so let's get to the money talk, because I'm not shy about talking about money. I believe when the tickets first popped online, you could get both nights for $50 total, I think. It may have been like $55. And then at the end, it was like $50 for one night. Once they had sold enough tickets, they had different levels and stuff. But if you would sign up right away, you could go there. Now, keep in mind, that gets you in the door. That doesn't get you anything else. And I want to say this so you understand. Nobody was getting free drinks. Everybody, house guests, were buying their own drinks. I've been to 2 different events now. Rob has a podcast event, and it is not like this is some thing where you're getting free stuff when you show up. You're just paying to get in the door, and that's fine because it's a lot of work. Again, I listened to Azza talking about everything she had to do to get ready, and of course they're organizing it. And I think they do help the house guests that show up with like hotel space or something. But other than that, again, I watched credit cards being pulled out and people paying for drinks. But it was very cool, very fun. Best time I've had. I enjoyed the Rob Has a Podcast thing, but of course that was Survivor based. This was Big Brother, and I'm telling you, man, it was such a blast, and I would love to go to it next year. We'll see what happens. But if there's a Chicago event now, by gosh, yes, I'm going to it to check it out and to say hi to people, because I could just go to those things and it was just fun to hang out. I went by myself. Go by yourself. You don't have to go with somebody. That's what I told these people, that were there, that came up and talked to me. It's like, look, come find me. I will talk to you. Nathan, he was, like I said, he tweeted about getting to meet me. I said, it was nice that I knew that any time of the night I could find Nathan and I could just say, hey, how's it going? And we could talk. There was I didn't have to hide in a corner or just kind of sit and feel like I didn't know anybody. Same goes with Danielle. Same goes with several other people that I talked to. I could just talk to anybody. And at the end of the second night, I walked out and I kind of had enough. And, like Wendell from Survivor is sitting there, and I walked up and talked to him, just went up and sat down next to him, talked to him. And he was so gracious and so nice. We talked about the GOAT. And I actually told him about the Joe Schmo show, the season 4, that they seem to have the name of their fake show is called The GOAT. And he kind of chuckled about that. Or he was very polite to me if he didn't care. And then at the very end of the night, I walked out and there was Rockstar sitting on. I watched this. Here you go. So the actual house guests, right? They got together before the party, someplace, I don't know where, and kind of had their pre-party. And then towards the end of the evening, like we're talking 11:30 or something, I see all of the house guests walking out at the same time together. Because guess what? They're going to another party. They're going to their own private little party as well. And so they were heading off to their own private party, which, again, totally entitled to do. Why shouldn't they be? They gave their all for at least 3 hours, I think. At least 3 hours, if not 4, to the public. So they were heading off. And I saw them and I'm like, okay, well, I shouldn't say that. Azza, when I left Thursday night, Azza was still there. She was still there partying with all the fans, but the rest of the folks had kind of headed on their way. But Azza was dancing. It was a disco theme. She was dancing and stayed there. But I kind of said, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to head out. I said goodbye to people, thank them. And as I walk out, there's Angela, Rockstar, sitting outside at a table with her boyfriend. And I had already talked to her a couple times before, but I went down and sat down and talked to her and her boyfriend. And we just had a nice little chat for a few minutes, just general conversation, just nice stuff. And then they jumped in an Uber and I just walked back to my hotel. But I'm telling you, I can't say it time and time again. It was a great time. I had some kind of interaction with every picture I posted, right? There's pictures there. I did talk to the people too for at least a minute or two. We talked to Jag's brother for quite a bit at one point. Talked to Jag because Jag has his hand in like a cast and he was telling us made up stories about why he was in a cast. But it was fun, great time. And you know what? With that, I think I'm going to wrap this up.